while I'm recording. Again, if the next assignment you submit is plagiarized, you will get an F for the course. This is your last and final warning, and take it how it is. Let's review how to get started. All right, so if we look at our program instructions, so we see this: write a method that computes future investment value at a given interest rate for a specified number of years. The future investment is determined using the formula below. So this formula right here. Use the following method header. Write a test program that prompts the user to enter the investment amount, say for example $1,000, and the interest rate, 9%, and prints the future value for the years from 1 to 30 as shown below. Okay. So your test program should ask for investment amount, an interest rate, and then you'll call your method from 1 to 30 times. So if you think about that, this part right here will be a for loop, right? Because it has a defined beginning, 1, and end, 30. So to get started, new project, Java application, next, lab 8. All right, we have our public static void main. We don't need to put anything in the main right now, right? We're focused on building our method, public static double future investment. And you can copy this method header and paste it into your program, because that's the exact method header I want you to use. And it doesn't like copy and paste, so I'm going to type it all out. Public static double future investment value, double investment amount, double monthly interest rate, and then lastly, in years. All right, we have this error right here because it's saying we need to return a double, which eventually we will. All right. So from here, now we need to create our program, which really is just this equation right here. Future investment value equals this equation right here. All right, so what you'll do is, I'm going to put in some comments, calculate the future investment value using the given equation. All right, that's what you need to do. So you have double future investment value equals whatever, right? Equals that equation given, okay? And then you'll return future investment value. Yeah, I'm just going to set it equal to 0 right now. But again, you'll set this variable equal to this equation right here, investment amount times 1 plus monthly interest rate to the power of a number of years times 12. And again, to do powers, we use math.pow. So math.pow, you would put in whatever amount you want to put to the number. So it'd be 1 plus monthly interest rate, comma, and then whatever power, which I believe was years times 12. That's the equation to do this part right here. Okay? You would use math.pow. I'm about to delete it, so if you have any questions right now, speak up or forever hold your peace. All right. So that's the first thing you need to do. Calculate your future investment value using these given formal parameters. And again, that's going to be the equation that I gave you in the directions, this entire equation right here. Okay. The next thing I want you to do is write a test program that prompts the user to enter the investment amount and the interest rate and prints the future value for the years from 1 to 30. All right, so if I look at this right here, I know I'm going to have at least two variables, investment amount and interest rate. And I want to read those in from the console. So, and whenever it says write a test program, you're going to want to put that in your main, okay? That's going to go in your main. So just read those directions. We know we have two variables, double investment amount equals whatever. We're going to read this in from the console. And double interest rate is also going to be read in from the console. So you need to read these two variables from the console. Make sure you have the proper prompts for your user. So the amount invested is what, amount annual interest rate, what the user types in, what the user types in, okay? Then down here, I want you to print this table. So we did something similar to this with the conversions. We did something similar to this with the conversions and how we print this out. But just think about this. We start from 1 and we end at 30. So there's going to be a for loop, right? So the for loop will go for int I equals 1, I is less than or equal to 30, I plus plus. And that loop right there is going to give us a loop from 1 all the way up to 30, including 30, okay? And that's what we want. We want a loop to go from 1 to 30. And I will represent our year. So when I equals 1, that's year 1. When I equals 2, that's year 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up to 30, so on and so forth. All right? And so what you'll do is you'll have your system.out.println. You'll say the year, which again is I, dash the investment amount. So you can go like this right here. I concatenate that with a dash because it's a string, plus call your method future investment amount or investment value, right? We pass in our investment amount that we read in from the console. We pass in our interest rate, but if you remember, we read in the annual interest rate. However, our method takes in the monthly interest rate. So what we need to do is just divide this by 12, right? There's 12 months in the year. We divide our annual interest rate by 12. That gives us our monthly. And then we pass in what year it is, which is I. And that's what your print is going to be. All right? And I'm getting these errors because these variables up here were never declared, meaning, or instantiated, meaning I never set them equal to anything. So NetBeans is giving me an error. But that's going to be on you. So right here, read this from console. Here, read this from console. All right. And then everything else is going to be pretty straightforward. Here, calculate this using the given equation. All right, any questions? about what you are expected to do? Does anybody need me to repeat what I just did or go into more detail? All right, well, since I'm getting complete silence, I assume all of you know what you're doing. If that's the case, let me repeat myself. The next instance of plagiarism will result in an F for the class. Now, granted, you and your partner can have the same code, right? The labs are partners. However, if I see code from the internet, it will be a 0 for the class. That includes your assignments, right? The assignments are supposed to be individual assignments. You may use Google as a resource. So for example, how do you do exponents in Java? Well, you may not know that off the top of your head, but you use math.pal. If you have to Google how to do that, no problem. But if you Google the whole problem, one, I've changed the problem for what you'll find on Google. So if you do that, you're going to look wrong. And two, you'll get an F for the course. So just don't do it. All right. No questions about the lab?
No, sir.
No, sir. You should have it.
All right. So I'm going to go over the assignment because I've had some questions about the assignment this weekend. And this weekend, I won't be able to really respond to any of you. I'm getting married tomorrow, so kind of busy.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, man.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Congrats.
Thank you. So this weekend, I won't be able to answer many questions. So I'm going to go over this now. If you have questions, let me know.
He about to be on that honeymoon.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you won't be hearing from me for a little while. All right.
Right.
Again,
Right.
we need a new project for each problem. All right. Assignment 8, problem 1. All right. So in this problem, problem 1, write a method with the following header. Number 1, number 2, number 3. You see it down here. Your method should first compute the average, then print the average, and the 3 numbers in decreasing order. So it should print those numbers as well. All right, so if I go into here, the first thing we need to do is create our method header, which is public static void display sorted numbers with these formal parameters. So public static void display sorted numbers, double num1, double num2, and double num3. All right. So that's the first part we need to do. The next part is we need to compute the average, right? Whenever you're doing the average, you need to have a sum, double sum, and then add up all the numbers. Add up the 3 numbers. And then our double average will essentially equal sum divided by 3 because we have 3 numbers. I'm getting this error because I haven't set sum equal to anything yet, but you'll do that. All right, after that, print the average to the console. All right. Then sort the numbers in decreasing order. Print the sorted numbers to the console. All right, so those are your steps. Once you've done that, up here in your main, call your method. Actually, yeah, call your method. And I want you to read in double number 1, double number 2, double number 3. Read in those 3 numbers from the console. So read those 3 numbers and then display, call your method, passing in those 3 numbers. All right. So those are your steps. First step is to add up the three numbers. Then step 2 is to compute the average. Step 3, print the average to the console. Step 4, sort the numbers in decreasing order. And lastly, step 5, print the sorted numbers. Then we go back up to our main. 6, read in those three numbers from the console. And then 7, call your method using those three numbers read from console. All right. Questions about the assignment?
No, sir.
Anybody? Again, you could type it in the private chat. I don't mind answering it. Ask your questions now. Don't plagiarize. All right, so that's problem 1. Okay. And I'll upload this video too so you can see this video and what you need to do. Problem 2, again, create a new project, Java application, assignment 8, problem 2. All right, so now we have assignment 8, problem 2. What I want you to do is display patterns. Write a method to display all odd numbers in a pattern as follows. Your method should work for any value in. Any number that I put in, your program should work. If n is an odd number, the last number outputted should be n. If n is an even number, the last number outputted should be n minus 1. So for example, if I input an 11, right, your program should go from 1 to 11. If I input a 12, your program should go from 1 to 12 minus 1, which would be 11, okay? So you'll always end on an odd number, regardless of whatever number I put in, or test your program with. To check if a number is even or odd, you can use n modulo 2. Again, modulo gets you the remainder. So for example, if I divide 12 by 2, it goes into 12 exactly 6 times. There is no remainder. If I divide 11 by 2, it goes into 11 5 times with a remainder of 1. So you can always check to see if a number is even or odd based on what the outcome of that number modulo 2 is. If it's a 1, it's an odd number. If it's a 0, it's an even number. The result of that equation is 0, n is even. If the result of that equation is 1, n is odd. So what I want you to do is just display the pattern. And if you see here, you're going to obviously use a loop. This pattern repeats itself, right? And so your loop will be inside your method, public static void display pattern. So down here, public static void display pattern. And again, we're passing in that integer in. Yep. So that's what your method is going to look like. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is determine if n is even or odd. And again, you would say whatever, n outcome equals n modulo 2, right? If n modulo 2 is 1, it's an odd number. If n modulo 2 is 0, it's an even number. So we can check for that. if outcome equals 1, you're going to do some things. Else, you're going to do some other things, right? All right. So this is what we have, both of these. Okay. So if outcome equals 1, that means n is an odd number. So what we can do is just do a for loop, because we know that there's going to be a beginning and an end. The beginning being 1, the end being n, right? Because we know it's odd. So we have a for loop, and I equals 1, I is less than or equal to n, I plus equal 2, right? Because we want all the odd numbers. If I just do I plus plus, it's going to increment by 1 each time. So I will equal 1, I will equal 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on and so forth. But we just want it to equal 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, all the way up. And then your last thing you would do is, actually you would need, let's see, 1 and then 1 and 3, 1, 3, 5. Let's see, actually, this might be a little bit more difficult than I thought. It is a little bit more difficult. Let's see. I know how to solve it, but I don't think I taught you how to solve it yet. All right. Well, this is what we'll do. So for problem 2, I haven't taught you how to solve it yet. You would need something called a nested loop, which just means you would put another for loop in here for and whatever equals. You would need a nested loop to do this one, but I didn't teach you nested loops. That's not really important in this class. So problem 2, I'll just make extra credit. So if you submit it, I'll give you extra credit. I don't know what that's going to be yet. It might replace another assignment that you got 0 on. I don't know. But if it's plagiarized, you'll fail the class. So you decide. Problem 1 is still required though. All right. Everybody good?
For the most part.
All right. Make sure y'all get the lab in tonight and the assignment in by Sunday. Okay?
Yes, sir.